Welcome to Books in Sum, your go-to for bite-sized book summaries.
Real Love by Sharon Salzberg. Real Love is a book that teaches how to fill our daily life with love, joy, and kindness. It explains how to build, improve, and enjoy our connections to other people and the world around us, and how to weave love into every aspect of our lives. It also explains why it is important to be a responsible storyteller, when to embrace our own petness, and how staring at trees makes people more compassionate. Finally, it explains how our stories can shape how we view ourselves, and how they can influence how we view others. When Diane's fiancé broke off their engagement, she dismissed her own doubts about the relationship and concluded that she was unlovable. This story of unlovability was one Diane had been telling herself since childhood, so it felt logical to her that she was the sole reason her relationship had failed. Through their words and actions, family members and friends can shape our attitudes toward ourselves. Gus had 4 rowdy brothers, and his love for books and music labeled him as different in his roughhousing, outdoorsy Montana family. However, Gus also experienced the positive impact stories can have, as his Uncle Don saw value in his sensitivity and would stand up for Gus. To be happy in the long run, we must first engage with difficult emotions, as repressing difficult feelings limits our emotional experiences and makes us more miserable. Author Sharon Salzberg was reminded of this after her close friend committed suicide, as she was reluctant to engage with her grief. The monk leading the retreat encouraged her to release her feelings by crying wholeheartedly, and when she found the courage to do this, Salzberg no longer felt imprisoned by her sadness. Patty developed feelings of worthlessness as a child due to her parents being alcoholics, which damaged her self-esteem. Through meditation and mindfulness practices, we can connect with our emotional wounds and move beyond difficult feelings by acknowledging and exploring them rather than pushing ourselves to forgive and forget. For example, Salzberg accumulated many emotional scars during childhood, including losing both parents to death and absence, but instead of repressing it, she acknowledged that this single feeling didn't define her, and that understanding helped her view her parents with compassion and forgiveness. Difficult emotions are an inevitable part of the human experience, and when we accept and embrace this, we can reconnect with others and foster self-love. An open and level playing field is the best terrain for achieving real love. The Gottman Institute has found that kindness is the most accurate indicator of how successful a marriage will be. To counteract our faulty gap filling, we need to practice kindness to ourselves and to others. Kindness reminds us that we're worthy and asks us to think of alternative narratives. To build lasting relationships, we must reevaluate our notions of fairness with what Salzberg calls a willingness to begin again. To achieve this, both we and our partner must stop keeping score and start recognizing that there may be several different ways to resolve a specific conflict. This creates a sense of a loving collaboration, rather than competition, filled with mutual support. John and Julie Gottman, founders of the Gottman Institute, have found that couples who respond to conflict with negative behaviors like criticism or defensiveness are not only unhappy, but also less healthy. To create a deep connection with someone, we must let go of our expectations and instead approach differences of opinion with the assumption that their partner has good intentions. This creates emotional safety, which can predict with an astonishing 90% accuracy how successful a relationship will be. We are all individuals with complex needs that are heavily influenced by our fears, so navigating this space in the spirit of honesty and kindness frees us to love with less fear and to honor our individual needs. The most important details in this book are that when someone we love is suffering, it is important to resist the urge to offer unsolicited advice and simply be present. Releasing ourselves from our own expectations benefits us too, as we are so determined to maintain our self-sufficiency that we block ourselves from receiving love. When Sabine was diagnosed with cancer in her mid-30s, she was forced to let go of her notion that she was superhuman and give her family and friends the chance to show their love through acts of support. This deepened their emotional connections. Finally, we can transform jealousy into joy by sifting through its causes and creating space for love. Sympathetic joy is a way to benefit from other people's happiness. It involves identifying what's stopping us from celebrating someone else's success, practicing self-compassion, and challenging the notion that the things we want are limited resources. The key to creating loving connections is to actively pay attention to the people you encounter and the world around you. Shelley Gable, a professor of psychology at the University of California, Santa Barbara, studied sympathetic joy in couples in 2006 and found that the way a partner responds to good news is more important in maintaining a healthy relationship than how they respond to bad news. The pressures of modern life can lead to a lack of connection, but we can still create it through small acts of kindness that cost us little and strengthen our connections to others. For example, Salzberg student Chloe had a huge meltdown on a packed Manhattan train, but a stranger offered her a gentle smile and a tissue. This small act of compassion completely shifted Chloe's mood, and offering kindness to others doesn't just help them, it also increases our own happiness over time. Similarly, when we're afraid of people, we often judge them according to prejudices or superficial notions, but stepping closer to the person we dislike or fear helps us see beyond our biases and find common ground. Valuing similarities over differences helps foster compassion, ultimately increasing everyone's happiness. Life-changing happiness occurs on a much smaller scale, and even difficult emotions can help us attain it. We often repress emotions like anger in an effort to avoid confrontation, but this is a false economy. To combat this, we must open our hearts and embrace life as an adventure, appreciating it for what it is. Experiencing this kind of wonder not only connects us to the world in which we live, but also supports the connections we have to others. Psychology professors Paul Piff and Dasher Keltner conducted an experiment about awe and connection at the University of California. A study found that students who spent time looking at eucalyptus trees offered more help to a passerby who'd tripped than those who'd been looking at a concrete building. The key message in these bites is that love is a conscious practice that each of us can engage in every day. To achieve this, we must pay attention to our self-talk and what others say about us, the full spectrum of our emotions, our behavior, our expectations, and the world we live in. Using the RAIN method to explore difficult emotions can clarify how we feel and ease our suffering.
We hope you found this summary helpful in your listening journey. If you're interested in diving deeper into the topic or getting your hands on the whole book, be sure to check the description below where we've included links to the book and other related products that may be useful to you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our latest book summaries, and feel free to leave a comment with any suggestions or requests for books you'd like us to cover. Thanks again for tuning in, and happy listening.